7 ways to make pounds fall off. All right, so there's only 7 ways to lose weight, and I joke around, and I guess maybe there's 8 if you like cut a limb off or something. But we're looking for like healthier ways to lose weight. All right, so 7 ways to make pounds fall off. All right. So you got to change the environment, eliminate foods, track foods, increase exercise, decrease inactivity, increase nutrient density, and manage internal climate. So what do these mean? Let's go into it. Environment manipulation. All right, so this is changing the environment around to make yourself more successful. All right, so if these cookies are right in front of you all the time, you're going to eat more of them. If somebody's got cookies out on the counter, guess what? I'm eating more cookies that day. So part of the idea is this is about, and as far as the habit loop goes, this is about disrupting the cue. So this cue, routine, reward is part of that habit cycle. And so if you could stop the cue from showing up, maybe you won't go after the treats as much. All right, so setting up your environment to be more successful. So what is the cue? Time of day can be a cue. Where you are, what emotional state, who else is around, what action preceded the urge. So it can be, locational cues. You get home and you have a snack. You see it, and you eat it. All right, and so the idea behind this is trying to structure your environment so the more tempting things are out of the way, and the healthier things are easier to find. All right. So 6 ways to make an activity less convenient. This is kind of a helpful little piece. Increase the amount of physical activity or mental energy is required to do it. So the idea would be like if you had ice cream in your house, it'd be like it's in the basement and freezer, not right up in handy. So you actually have to do a little bit more work, to get to it. So again, use that concept any way you can. Increase the amount of physical or mental energy required to do the less ideal thing. All right, so hide any cues. All right, so that's what we're talking about here is just decrease any cues you possibly can. Stash the tempting things farther away. All right. Number 3, delay it. All right, so you go, okay, so I got to do this before I do that. So maybe I got to go 10,000 steps before I can space out and watch a movie. All right. Number 4 is engage in incompatible activity. So if you're working on a puzzle, instead of snacking, so you go, okay, I don't want to eat a puzzle piece by accident, so it doesn't work out. So you go out for a walk. You're less likely to eat while you're out walking because the food is back at the house. All right, so you're looking for getting yourself separated from the less convenient activity there, or the one you don't want to do. All right, raise the cost. All right, you could make a bet with somebody or make a deal with somebody or things like that, so that it actually penalizes you more. If I do this, then I have to also do that. So you have to pay a price after if you have done it. Block it altogether. There are certain things that you can just block. As far as that. So like there's certain foods you just don't even bring in the house. It's a way to block something altogether. If TV is a problem for you, you shut down every possible way to get to it. And you go, oh, well, I guess I won't watch TV too much then. All right, so think about how you can apply some of those concepts into making the environment better for you, because if you were to live in a camp somewhere where there was physical activity all the time and the only food was what was given to you, you probably would lose weight. So you're maybe not going to go that far, but how can you make your regular life a little bit more like that, like a place that creates weight loss? All right, number 2, eliminate foods. All right, so this is the most boring, this is the one that people just, brainlessly choose all the time. It's the standard diet, and most diets have this. It's a low-fat, vegan, paleo, low-carb, no sugar, gluten-free, whatever it is, whatever the diet is, that you're doing. It's about eliminating foods, about cutting some foods back. Intermittent fasting would count as that because you're eliminating times of eating and stuff like that, and so it changes the pattern, for you. And the idea is that you're trying to drop calories by eliminating something, by crossing off, food or a time period or whatever, and this is standard and it can work, but it doesn't keep working. All right. So what happens when you do an eliminate foods, type of plan? Let's say it's, low carb, so you're going to eat low carb for a while. But eventually, the first couple of weeks, you're going to lose weight, but then you're going to start finding other foods to fill that void. All right. So first, you cut something out and there's this hole in your nutrition, but then after a while, you figure out ways to start filling that hole in so it starts to become less and less effective. All right, and so over long term, this one usually doesn't work, but there's a time and a place to actually consider this one. All right, so foods to consider eliminating: dairy, gluten, nightshades, or added sugars. There are certain things that could be causing inflammation, extra problems in your body. And, if your body is sensitive to them, it gets inflamed when you have them. Going without them for a while could be a super helpful thing for you to do. It doesn't mean you have to go without them forever, but sometimes you got to get your body under control. Number 3 is track food. I'm not going to talk about this one too long, but this is the one that we use in our program. So, on the screen, you can see, kind of the some things logged in on the side there, just different foods, and you're just keeping track. Like, this is the food, this is how much I had. And I'm keeping track of this. We use this method because I think it's the best way to learn about food and how much this food costs, as far as bringing me to my goals or not. And over time of working with it, you learn so much about the food and how the food is going to work and how it's not going to work for you. And I think it's very, very valuable. I don't think it's something you have to do forever, especially if it becomes a habit. All right. So if you got, certain foods, certain routines, become a habit for you. So if you start logging food, keeping track of things, and you find some meals, some snacks, some breakfasts, that really work well for you and you stick to them, you'll probably continue to see some really good benefits. And I have done this a lot with my nutrition. So I don't keep track of that regularly, but I have some habits that I really do standard, and I stay in pretty good shape there. All right. Number 4, increase exercise. All right, so this is about getting out there and getting some more stuff going. So a mile of walking or running is considered 100 calories. To lose a pound of fat, you got to get moving a little bit more. All right, you have to walk 35 miles, to lose a pound of fat. 5 miles a day, 7 days a week would be 1 pound a week. Okay, that's one way to exercise. And that I'm going to talk about that a little bit in the next one too. Number 4 is also increasing exercise. There is resistance training. So when we do resistance training, like this muscle girl here, is that you build muscle mass. And muscle mass, when it looks cool, we look lean, we look healthy, we look strong, but also, it allows us to move and do more, and burns 6 to 10 calories per day. A pound of muscle burns 6 to 10 calories per day. If you got an extra 10 pounds of muscle, you're looking at 60 to 100 calories per day. That's not nothing. It's small, but it's not nothing. Over the course of a longer period of time, that's going to affect, how lean your body gets as well. All right, the other thought is interval training. All right, so not only just exercise, getting steady state cardio, getting all that stuff going, getting resistance training going, so your metabolic, your metabolism is elevated because of that. But interval training, where you're doing a harder, higher intensity work, has a higher EPOC, as they call it, excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. All right. And so if you have this EPOC, it's really the afterburn. How many calories after the exercise or how long after the exercise are you actually still burning calories? Because that does contribute. So if you go for a walk, that's different than if you do a high intensity interval, and you burn a certain amount of calories during that time, but you're also going to burn more calories afterwards because your body takes a little while to recover, from something like that. Number 5, I think, is a separate thought, is decreasing inactivity. All right, so I think the some extra walking, can be a part of that. But I think really it's not so much thinking of like this is more exercise time. I think we don't need to exercise for hours and hours and hours. I think a lot of times we just need to be more active. All right, so sitting versus standing. Sitting about 1 calorie a minute, standing about 2 calories a minute. If we're standing, moving around, maybe about 3 calories a minute. All right. So, so 2 extra calories per minute times 60 minutes is 120 calories. If you did that, so I guess that changed an hour for sitting, for an hour of moving around doing stuff, I might get 120 more calories burned in that same amount of time. Now, if I did that over a long period of time, I'm kind of like a really sedentary person. I sit a lot, and now all of a sudden I'm moving a lot more. It could be 720 calories. 720 calories per day could end up being near 72 pounds for the year. And you go, woo, that's something. So moving around more, being active, not just exercise, but like painting the house, sweeping the floor, mowing the yard, going for a walk after dinner, all these kind of things. Being more active, as a person. And I think the time passes really well when it's some activities that you kind of enjoy. So it's a project that's kind of like, interesting you. You're working on the house, making your environment better. You're working on a project for somebody, going over and volunteering, helping somebody else. I think time goes by quicker and you're active and enjoying it a lot more versus just spending more time on a treadmill, which sounds awful. All right, so I don't do a whole lot of treadmill time. All right, number 6. increased nutrient density. So this means having more vegetables. All right. So Joel Fuhrman calls it toxic hunger, and that is when we are malnourished. Basically, it takes about 6,500 calories of pizza to get your full amount of vitamins and minerals. And so that means if you have 3,000 calories of pizza, you're still malnourished, and your body is craving nutrients, and so it throws more hunger in there. This toxic hunger. And so a lot of times, if you can settle that with more vegetables, your body's getting what it needs, and it gets it at a lower calorie level, and it's satisfied. It's way more satisfied. I think we've made a big mistake thinking that calories are one of the most important things to study in food. I think the nutrition level is way more powerful, that if we can settle into the nutrition level that our body needs, we'll be full at a lower calorie level, and we won't have this issue of gaining so much weight. Our bodies will settle into a better spot. So I think also it allows some fullness, because my goodness, have you ever eaten 2 pounds of vegetables? Have you ever eaten a large quantity of vegetables? In a day, it makes you more full. It actually mechanically takes up more space too. And so not only are you getting more nutrition, you're actually getting more space. Your body has a chance to feel a feeling of fullness because of that. And it's not as high a calorie. It's a good deal. It's a good deal, that one. Number 7 is a big one. This is one that's probably one of the hardest ones to tackle. We are where we are because of our habits. To change where we are, we have to change our habits. How we see ourselves is a big factor in there. Our stress levels. Sometimes we eat for frustration. We eat because we're stressed. We eat because we're anxious. We eat because we're angry. We eat because we're happy. It's like sometimes we're eating and it's not tied into actual physical hunger. In fact, actually, a lot of times when we have extra weight on our body, it's because there is eating that's not tied to a physical need. It's tied to a mental and emotional need. And we need to connect into there a little bit more, figure out, one question you ask yourself when you're eating is, why am I doing this at this moment? And you might find, well, I'm not actually hungry. I'm bored. I'm bored or something like that. I was frustrated. I just got off the phone with somebody, and I can't solve this problem, but I can put food in my mouth. And so sometimes we misdirect some of our emotions and our needs into food. And so this can be a really, really big one. So I'm not going to say this is like an easy checkbox of how you can start applying some of this stuff a little bit more. I would say, check out the handout. I got a couple of suggestions in there. Usually it's going to involve talking to somebody. You're going to talk to somebody, you're going to read some books, you're going to journal, and you'll become more in tune with your feelings and listen to them a little bit. All right. So there's the list. There's only seven ways to lose weight, and everything falls into this. I mean, any weight loss diet thing, anything falls into these categories. So change the environment, eliminate foods, track foods, increase exercise, decrease inactivity, increase nutrient density, manage internal climate. Basically, if you know somebody who's lost weight, they've applied something from in here, maybe multiple ones. So here's an example of somebody applying all 7. So they clean out their house, so they have to go out of the house to get junk food. All right, so they've worked the environment there. They stopped drinking soda. They did an elimination. All right, they keep a food journal to track calories. There they go. There's food tracking. They join an exercise program, increase exercise. They stop watching TV after dinner and go for a walk instead. They've increased or they're decreased the inactivity actually. Increase just regular activity. Begin eating a large salad every day. So now they've increased their nutrients. And then they begin taking daily quiet time to write down their thoughts. All right, so there's an example of applying all 7. Here is an overwhelming amount of change. Many people come to us first, working on number 4, increase exercise. We try to help people slowly tackle one at a time. All right, so if you need more help, contact us. We'd love to help you. Check out the handout that I made. It's got a little bit more information in there for you, as well, and a place you can start to really think about how you're going to apply some of this. So again, there's the 7. All right, try to work on doing something in these categories. And in fact, if you can apply multiple, you don't have to use all the categories. But the more of these points you put in, the more likely you are to have a better shot at this weight loss that you are going for. All right. So God bless, good luck, and I wish you weight loss until the point that you are very healthy at your ideal weight.